stack and heap memory. So I can put about that stack versus heap performance, something like that. So I often seen people discuss that, and if you open any documentation or anything online, they can mention a lot of interesting aspects. See, you can find a lot of aspects. See, this is an interesting website. You can see here there's a lot of comparison, what the overhead of a stack versus heap, architecturally how both are different, and one is slower, one is faster, and stuff like that. So all these aspects you can see. But I suggest if you are really curious, don't take this face value of whatever they put. Take your code, code it, a sample code, and then test its performance. One of the ways I can suggest you is you can use my stub TrueBench code. You can go to this download page, and I have done this code to test sort of CPU performance in a particular way, so that I can test a single core performance of a single process inside a specific CPU, inside a specific system. So this way I got feed worldwide. There are so many people contributed their results, and then I just populated by putting over here, and it is quite useful for any sort of research and analytics purposes. Apart from mundane CPU benchmarks like Sparsemark and other benchmarks, even this is quite useful, because I want to deal only with single core performance with a simple criteria. The code should be highly portable and stuff like that. So anyway, you can go to the download, and you can see here I have put across my source code. If you open the source code, somewhere here you can see here I'm just measuring this dummy load, how far it takes time to compute or to execute that dummy load. So I'm measuring before and after, and then I'm calculating the diff, and I'm printing the results. So the results will come somewhat like this. It is going to dump like this. So which is why I'm saying, if you are also want to volunteer, you can test it according to the criteria as I mentioned in the website, do's and don'ts. You can test it any Linux laptop or PC or anywhere, and then you can also submit your CPU benchmarks. So going back to the code, it is quite simple. In the dummy load, you can see here I'm doing some iterations like this, and then I evaluate how much time it takes. And here is where another tip: whenever you do some benchmarking like this, do always on a not TrueBench for submitting me. I'm saying when you want to do any analysis of memory mapped memory allocated area, like mapped memory versus the traditional array or malloc memory. So what you can do is, you can do on a traditional old outdated laptop or some sort of Raspberry Pi, because it adds an extra contrast. If you don't do that in such a system, and if you do on a sophisticated good configuration system, somewhat like my PC, what happens is it is going to give similar results no matter whatever performance boost you get. So what happens is, you won't get that adequate contrast. So what I meant is, suppose if you test it in my PC, let's suppose this is the best case, and let's suppose this is the worst case, it is going to give a graph like this. Okay, so you won't find much difference. So if you read a documentation like this, let's go back to this heap and stack comparison. They say that access time, one is faster, one is slower. Heap is an hierarchical memory, so to manage that memory it has to do little bit overhead is there, so it is slower compared to the stack memory and stuff. So when you do global memory, it uses this, and local memory, local variable, it uses this, and so you have all the stuff. The thing is, when you compare, I suggest you, than doing in a good configuration system, use any old outdated laptop, or preferably anything like Raspberry Pi or some IoT device, so that you don't get a graph like this. Instead, you get a graph like this. You get a big bar of performance. Let's suppose this is the good, this is the best possible outcome of that technique, and this is the other one. So you will get a graph like this, or maybe instead of blue curve that long, you will get somewhat like this. So this gives the contrast, which is the best and which is the not so good. So when you do that, I suggest than doing in a high level, high configuration system, you can do in some outdated laptop. You will get sort of results like this, so that you will have adequate contrast, okay, which is the best versus which is the next to it actually. So which is why I'm saying, if you're experimenting with mmap, okay, if you get some memory access, I recommend you can take my step code like this TrueBench. And what you can do is you can evaluate the performance. In this episode I don't want to do, because I need to change a lot of things. You can see here another drawback. If you do in a high performance system, you can see here the number of iterations I put across, around 1 million iterations. Whereas in the case of Raspberry Pi, maybe just 10,000 iterations is more than enough to get some sort of expected results. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You can take this code and you can modify and you can test which type of memory is faster, and if you come across any interesting results, so possibly you can mail your code, you can mail your graphs, okay, all this test curve, and we can do some analysis as well. So in case if it needs further tweaking and testing, maybe I can also get back and then we can play around. Okay, it's just not necessary you need to be my student. Even then you can just if you're curious, you can share across and we can see what extent we can gather some data and research inputs from that. Okay, so do that way. And if you're curious, if you're doing with this mmap, I suggest you do some type of character driver, try to map that memory, and then what happens, it is quite easy. You can do a character driver, and instead of dev0, you can just point it towards that character driver. You are going to create a device file for that character driver, use the device file and tell to use that file descriptor instead of this way. So it is going to use that address space of that character driver, and it is going to use that. Okay, so then you can test the performance. Instead of doing this, you can do some dummy load like I have put in TrueBench, right? And instead of just one mmap, you can do some couple of ones, and then you can test its performance moving data from one mmapped memory to other mmapped memory, and then we can you can try the performance, and then you can send your results. Okay, so it's quite interesting. I highly recommend you to go through the various options, those flags and other stuff in the mmap API, and also the return type and other aspects of as well. I don't want to dive deep in this video episode, because my entire objective is to create some awareness, so that if you are stuck architecturally, if you are finding some performance bottlenecks or something like that with your code or modules, you can experiment, so that you don't heavily use especially this happens in user space development. You don't have to use the regular user space virtual memory address space. Instead, you can do something like that, and you can boost the performance. And especially if it involves a heavy IPC and you need to anyway share this data across the kernel, then again doing some character driver in the kernel and then using that for the user space buffer makes more sense, because the same other modules in the kernel can use this anyway, the character drivers buffer, and then you can do something without doing much of your copy from user and copy to user in the end. Okay, if you don't do that, what happens is, this is what happens with traditional IPC. You need to do excessive this every time you do any shared memory access or anything. Kernel actually does this, so naturally it is going to impact the performance, because end of the day all you are doing is you are just copying something from this page to this page via kernel through that IPC, and from some other this page to this page via some other IPC. So this is going to be a huge performance bottleneck. So that is why I'm saying you can do this way, and you can try how far you can mitigate your performance bottlenecks. Okay, So hope you enjoyed this video. As usual, if you have anything to discuss, be in touch via mail. And like I mentioned, if you have having any dedicated Linux systems, build systems or test systems, you can follow my instructions. You can capture some TrueBench benchmarks and you can submit the same. Even if I have that processor listed down, still you can do that and submit it, because sometimes I do verify the test results, how far it is consistent. It will help in that way as well. I do maintain a database of who have provided the test result and stuff like that. So of course I'm going to enter all this data into my database. Most of this benchmarks I got it from my students, but some of them are from my clients as well, and some are from general volunteers across the internet. Okay, so anybody come across this, they are sharing me some of their benchmarks. Sometimes even they test in their small IoT devices. See, you can see here NVIDIA Jetson Nano, and above you can see here BeagleBone and stuff. So if you have, especially Raspberry Pi 4, I don't have Pi 4 at my in my lab. So if you have Raspberry Pi 4, in case if you have Raspberry Pi 4, then latest one, you can do that test as well in Raspberry Pi, and then you can submit your benchmarks. Most of the times you don't need to compile the code. You can use the pre-compiled code for consistency, because each time you compile it again depends on GCC version and how far GCC is optimizing the compiled code. So try to use whatever code I have provided. If it doesn't work, then you can self-compile and submit your benchmark results. And same way, you can take the same code as a stub code, you can modify for your requirements as well. So that's the main intent. I'm kind of pulling this as an example, so you can do modifications and you can also use it in your day-to-day development or experiments as well. Okay, so be in touch via mail, and in case if anything you want to discuss, a small query, maybe you can discuss in YouTube comments. Thanks a lot for joining me. Stay tuned. Have a nice day. Bye bye.